In many Nigerian schools today, students are still learning with methods designed for the world that no longer exists. Meanwhile, the global economy is rapidly shifting towards technology, artificial intelligence, automation, and innovation. So the question becomes, are Nigerian students truly being prepared for the future? Welcome to Education Frontline Live, coming to you directly from the studios of Niger Education TV. I'm your host, Maimuna. And today, we're talking about robotics in education, why it matters, the opportunities it creates for young Nigerians, and whether our education system is keeping up with the rest of the world. Joining me today is someone deeply involved in robotics education and works directly with VEX Robotics, one of the biggest robotics platforms globally. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. Can you please briefly introduce yourself to the audience and tell us what work you do in robotics?
Okay, thank you, Maimuna, for having me. My name is Ihemdi Pius Emeka. I'm VEX Robotics coach, also a cybersecurity professional and a director at Piepixelz company. Over the years, I've worked with students, let's say a decade now, work with students, robotics and STEM education. One of the things I get to understand well is that um, robotics as a whole it is actually needed in the country because it involves automation, AI, digital literacy, and all of this. And currently, we don't have it in some of these schools. But for now, I think the private sectors are really doing well in terms of inculcating robotics in their daily activities. So we just really need the government to step up their game.
All right, now talking about robotics, for many Nigerians, when we hear the word, we immediately think science friction, highly advanced machines. Some even think it's something that only happens in foreign countries. Now, how can you define or explain robotics in more simplified terms?
Oh, in more simplified terms, actually, okay, robotics, for me, I see it as a fusion of science, engineering, programming, and creativity to build systems that solve our immediate problems. So if you can have a system that you have built in critically and that can also solve a problem using sensors to make them autonomous, that is with little or no human intervention. That for me, I can say this is robotics.
Interesting, because while I was doing my research on robotics, at first I thought our blenders, washing machine, household appliances were robots, but apparently robots are machines, but not all machines are robots. For a machine to be a robot, it has to carry out work on its own, like, sensing external factors without someone having to press a button. Like our blenders, you need to press it for it to start, you need to press it to stop. However, the world is evolving and we have blenders that are actually more of robots. Smart robots. They're also smart vacuums that can sense walls, that can sense stairs and even dirt. So that makes them machines. Now, talking about robotics and education, how can we fit robotics in classroom learning?
It's really easy. All you just need to do is to have professionals that actually have gone training for this. One, then two, you have to be willing yourself to because it comes with a cost. Really ready to take in the cost. And three, the schools or your pupil must also be ready because it requires critical thinking. One thing I love about the VEX Robotics is that they have prepared a curriculum for you from nursery down to the university level. And each of these can actually be done to suit around your own need. For example, if you want to teach STEM using VEX Robotics, you can just go ahead and use, let's say for nursery one now, there's something called VEX Continuum. It's a package that is used to teach in the classroom. Okay, now not just the building, the programming, the competitions, but this has to do with solving real life problems. For example, you want to do 1 + 1, okay, you just use that simple that on that you can just write it and ask the robot to move across those and to the final answers also. So with that, you can simplify learning, whereby the teacher don't have to talk much or the student have to memorize. No. It's going to be a practical kind of learning where you see these students rejoicing, having hands-on practicals. I think that is what we're lacking currently in our education sector in Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, talking about robotics, I think it's something that definitely demands a lot of critical thinking and technological skills. So does that mean only exceptional students are involved or exceptional people are involved in robotics?
No. You don't really have to be even a tech person, right? Because the AI now we are using now, you don't have to be a science or a scientist for you to use this. So you don't really need to be a genius, because we have simplified this in the structure before now. Now, I've seen students, right, that have studied robotics, and they are not as smart as all of those, but robotics actually have helped them to build confidence, which is one of the lacking thing. If you see a brilliant student and that which is struggling, you discover that the difference there is confidence. And robotics give them what? Confidence. It gives them what? People's skills. So you don't have to be intelligent. All you just need to do is to give yourself the willingness to learn. Because the future belongs to creators and not the users of technology.
Right. Interesting. That gives more clarity to this conversation. Now let's talk about robotics in education in Nigeria, but let's talk globally before we talk about Nigeria. Now, robotics in education is experiencing rapid change, high growth change. You know, it's transitioning from just mere extracurricular niche. It is now recognized as a component of STEM, and the market is projected to come over $1.3 million from 2024 to $6 million by 2030, driven by computational thinking, coding, and problem-solving skills. Now let's come back home. Looking at Nigeria's current educational system, where do you think we currently stand when it comes to technology and STEM, technology, education, and STEM?
Okay, when it comes to technology in Nigeria, we are doing well. But when it comes to robotics, there's still a huge gap that I think we should close. Okay, now the world is currently into what? Deep AI and research into automations. Okay, but for us in Nigeria, the awareness is growing, but that gap is still there. You get?
Yes.
Now, what we need is to come together, collaborate with private sectors and all of this to close those gaps. Public sectors, I think like an hybrid system will be better, because if parents are willing to collaborate with the school, and these schools are willing to partner with government and private sectors to bring robotics to their school, I think those gaps can be mitigated.
That's very important, because as it is, Nigeria's current educational system, our public schools are already suffering with basic infrastructure like internet access, computers. So bridging that gap is very vital, especially if we want to actually make robotics as a big thing, and we want to see that it is going far in our educational system, making sure that everybody gets access, not just private schools, but also public schools. Everyone gets the opportunity to harness the talent and see, you know, what they can build when it comes to robotics. Now, some people say robotics is a luxury. What do you have to say about that?
Of course, to some, robotics is luxury, but I feel like robotics is a basic necessity for every school. Now, the reason why I said so, the world is evolving, the world is changing rapidly, and robotics has come to stay. So we are not going back. What I keep imagining sometimes when I just sleep, and at night I stay awake because of this little imagination. Now, I feel like here in Nigeria, we are training the students for the yesterday's future. Whereas the world is already preparing the students for the present future. I think there is enough niche that we need to cover. So for me, our infrastructures need to be in place, and all of this need funding. So yes, to some private schools it is of course it's luxurious, but for public schools, right? It is damn expensive, and they don't want to go into it. So for a private school that can afford it, is a plus. So we want the government to look at this and see how they can collaborate with private school sectors, even companies like us, because what we do now, our mission is just to empower African schools through robotics. That's what we do at Piepixelz.
Because now when we talk about affluent and under-resourced regions, it's very important to make sure they are also being included in robotics, and make sure that there's access for them, because we can't just make something available for a certain part of the country whilst some certain part isn't, you know, getting access to that. So it's better if everyone is being accessed, because there are a lot of people in the rural areas who are very talented. What they need is just the opportunity to come out and show what they need. So this is a call to the government. This isn't just about VEX. This is about the government. This is about the students. This is about parents coming together to actually see that robotics, a lot of people have talent when it comes to robotics, and we need to bring that out in them, because when we do that, it's in long term, it will also benefit to the country as a whole and to globally. It will make our country, reach a point where we are, so high, will be developed economy-wise, social-wise, political-wise. Now, you work with VEX Robotics. For people unfamiliar with it, can you tell us what happens, during your competitions? What happens in VEX?
Okay, so I've earlier said that VEX is the biggest robotics platform currently in the world. And every year they tend to beat their Guinness record of the highest gathering in the world.
Interesting.
VEX has a way of bringing students together across the different countries. Now, they build, that is, they do real-life engineering work. They program, real-life programming, not the text-based, the block-based text that we usually see, block programming. So they do go into Python, okay? For a child in year 7 can actually start learning Python, and with that knowledge alone can face the world. After building, of course, they need to compete. For you to compete favorably, you need to have the people skills. You need to be able to share your idea. You need to be able to convince that what you did was done by you and not by your teachers, because the VEX robot is 100% student based. There's no room for adults telling a child that this is no one, that their number one rule say use common sense, okay, and the other rule says your robot should represent your skill level. What this means is, if you are in year 5, the robot you are going to build for the competition should be based on what you already know and what you can achieve as a year 5 student. Not a year 5 student bringing a prototype of robot of someone in the university. Okay, so your robot must represent your skill level.
I like how, robotics isn't just about theory. It's more of practical. It gives students the opportunity to actually do it with their hands, because when it comes to learning, practical goes a long way. Some students are better off when there's more visual aid, when you're doing it on your own, it sticks better. And robotics is a very good thing, because you're doing it on your own, you're using your hands, you're calculating, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's not just about copying notes, listening, and all of that. Now, how have Nigerian students performed in robotics competitions?
Competing with countries like United States of America, China, the Japanese, of course, Nigeria. I would say this Nigerian students, they are currently doing very well. We've had the time that we came up to 25 positions out of 5,000 teams. Wow. Yes, at the world. So this is applaudable. But does our country representative, do they know about this? No, because we don't have any social media handle or personnel that publish this. Even when you call them for sponsorship, they don't even look at your side, right?
That's bad.
But whether we like it or not, it is Nigeria as a country that we are representing. Taking a student from Nigeria down to, let's say, United States of America, and they have competed. At the time, right, I have one student that was competing, and he was like, Emeka, I'm exhausted. Why? Because they have never been exposed to this kind of scenario here in the country, whereby you have to think critically, you manage your time, you have to converse with people, and you also have to relate with other teams. For example, having a team like the musical teams that they don't speak English. So what do? You have to be creative in communication. So VEX exposes students to all of this. So
that's very interesting, because at this point, VEX isn't just about VEX thinking, coding, and tech skills. It's also building your confidence. It's also building your communication skills. And we need more opportunities for our students to actually come out and show what they have. And they also need to reframe their mindset when it comes to, lack of confidence or shying away from what they want to do, because robotics is a big thing. The world is evolving. The new thing now is robotics. And when we make robotics a priority, I believe that we have a lot of talented Nigerians who would make break barriers, make change, be the top when it comes to robotics. Nigeria has one of the largest populations, and which means that we also have biggest unemployment challenges. How can robotics build that gap when it comes to unemployment?
Of course, what's trending is the AI and robotics. And with it alone, you can have courses like cybersecurity, opportunities in cybersecurity, what is it called? Digital literacy. And also have opportunity in data processing, computer engineering, back-end developer, that is full stack development. You know why? Because all of this started with the basic of programming, which is taught in the robotics. And going further, you decide to pick a chance. You can become a drone pilot in the future. All of these are what was born out of the need to, or the desire to fill in as a robotics student. Then later you graduate because VEX has given us a platform from nursery down to the university. If you want to keep up that at the end, come on, you're studying mechatronics alone. So you can see there are a lot of opportunities there. Even now, the robotics are also introduced in farms. Okay, so if you say you're a farmer, there's a skills waiting for you in robotics. If you say you're a plumber, of course, there is also a skill waiting for you. If you think of whatever you are, even if you're a market person today, you can also do your trade with robotics. You don't have to come to your shop every time. Let's talk about delivery system. That is what is changing rapidly now. Now, whereby you just sit in your home and the robot delivers your item, and you just receive your alert.
Now, do opportunities exist locally, or are they mostly abroad?
Currently, the Naseni and the NIDA are actually putting up something good for the Nigerian student, and I believe they will keep it up. And of course, last year, the Minister of Education, he mandated all schools to do robotics. That is both private and public schools. But the only challenge we have is the personnel. Do we have people that are trained to handle all of this? Do we have organizations that will come in without being paid to train these people? Do we have funding? Do we have government support? So all of this is what is kind of hindering the what will I say, the rapid progress of robotics, especially in the public schools.
Because countries investing heavily in robotics, they are the ones that are likely going to dominate the economy tomorrow. Now, some youths are afraid that the evolving AI, robotics, and all of that might take away their jobs. So do you think that should be a curse or a blessing?
Of course, robotics will not take anybody's job. It will only take the job of those who are not ready to learn and to blend in with what is trending, which is robotics. Now, so I see it as a blessing. For every individual here, whatever you are doing, the robotics can change your atmosphere, can change your market space, can change, because currently we are going to, what Nigeria is stepping into is the global market in technology. And these statistics that say Nigeria is the highest user of technology. If you use technology and you're not using it wisely, then why use? Why using them?
Aimless.
Okay? So I feel it's a blessing. So what I would do, I would just encourage everybody there to come up and learn. Piepixelz can set up a platform to train these people that want to learn, but do we have the fund? How do we need get government to get involved? Are there bodies waiting for these opportunities to empower the Nigerians with these robotic skills? We are ready for collaborations, okay? If you think you have what it takes to empower the Nigerians, whether the government or the private sectors, we are ready to collaborate with you to ensure that in 2030, at least 50% of Nigerians have been taught how to harness their skills using AI and robotics.
But do you think Nigeria is taking innovation seriously?
Of course. With what I'm seeing, give us 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, 3 years.
All right. So when it comes to your own side as VEX, working with so many countries across the globe, what are some challenges that you face in order to, trying to implement your work and make it effective and efficient for the people?
Our biggest challenge is adaptability.
Adaptability.
Now, we really want to have a unified system whereby what I teach in this public school, in this school, is the same to what, because we have so many robotics companies right now, and everybody has different curriculum. So why others are teaching A, others are teaching B? We need to harmonize. So we need a policy that can harmonize this, and that is where Piepixelz has been trained for, to harmonize all of this. Okay, so working with government will give us an edge, because if government schools are able to adopt this, and they have a unified curriculum across all schools, whether in FCT or the 36 states, we have conquered at least 50% of our problems. 2, funding. Because one person, yes, cannot change the world alone. So we need other people to come to be involved. So we need funding partners. We need collaborators. We need government to step in and own these projects. Okay, because robotics is supposed to be sustainable, where you have a system working already. But setting it up is what costs a fortune. So should I just say a token, because it's not that much, okay? So with robotics, you can have something like hydroponics around your school farms, because of the insurgencies and all of those happening in the north and all of this. You can just have them around you. Use a sensor to program when to water your plant, when not to water the plant, when to monitor for pests and all of those. And you don't even have to, because it's hydroponics. They recycle the water. While you're growing your crop, you're also feeding the fish, but autonomously. All you just need to do is to come and harvest. When is the fish ready, and when can you take them to the market? Yeah. So these are simple systems that can make robotics sustainable in the country, but we need it to be adopted first.
Sustainability is key, especially when it comes to something that would grow the economy at a long run. So make the government, making this as a priority won't just benefit them as the government. It is going to benefit the country as a whole, because we, the youths, are the leaders of today. So once they make us a priority, once they invest in us, it is going to in turn make our country a better place for us, the citizens, and, as a country amongst all other countries. Now let's move to AI tech and fear of the future. What skills will matter the most in the next 10 years?
Programming skills, IT skills matters most in the next 10 years. Of course, when you're online and you cannot protect yourself, cybersecurity also matters. Because since everything is going online, there should be the online police, which is at the cybersecurity. So I think the most important, 3 important skills for the future is IT and infrastructure. That is learning how to programming and all of those. 2, become online police also. This is cybersecurity. And the most important one, which is the AI and robotics, learning them. Because when AI come fully into the play, because, of course, let me tell you something. There's something called super intelligent AI. That is the next phase where we are going to be in the next 3 years. Whereas some countries are actually doing that now, okay? So countries are actually utilizing the super intelligent artificial intelligence. Now, do you know what they do? They be the one to build agentic AIs. So the super intelligence system need a system to control them, need policies, and who are the people to create these policies? We are the users, the end users. So if you don't learn how to, the way the robotics and the AI works, how would it make policy out of them? That's another powerful skills they need to learn. We need to build up in this 2026.
Yeah, as the world is evolving, we also need to follow along, because currently we already have some challenges we're facing, and in order to meet the top, we need to also move together. We need to change our priorities. We need to realize that the sooner the better, because the world is changing every day. New things are coming up every day, and robotics is something that can really make a big change for us in Nigeria, as Nigerians, and the country as a whole. Now, seeing how far you've come in robotics, tech, and all of that, what do you have to say? What advice would you give to a student who is interested in robotics but doesn't have any idea how to begin? What can you tell them from all the challenges you faced from start to where you are today? What can you tell them?
As an aspirant, as somebody that wants to learn robotics, the first thing is to make up your mind. Of course, the way will not be, it's not be smooth, but the first thing is taking that decision. I want to. 2, to become a creative thinker, you don't just fall from the sky and become a creative. You have to work towards that. So you think allow somebody that you think knows better than you to evaluate your thinking. So or you can even go to the mirror, think, and you can also sit down and say, using the smart what's it called, index, using the smart index, right? You can check this idea, is it worth it? Does it worth it? What will come out of this idea? Is it sustainable? Is it going to die in the next 3 years? Will there going to be funding for me to execute this project and all of these things? And don't stop thinking, because when you think critically, definitely you can have something to hold and you'll make it.
Exactly.
So the first advice is make up your mind. Yes, learning programming might be a little bit tedious, but it's fun when you have learned it. Okay. Two, staying with critical thinking. That is focusing on what you want. Then thirdly, do not give up.
Thank you very much. Now, this is to everyone also watching. From what you said, I'm also motivated. I'm also inspired to keep on doing what I also dream to do. So everyone should just reframe their mindset. Yeah. Whatever dream it is that you have, don't give up. Just keep going for it, because you might be what the world has been waiting for. That idea of yours might be what the world has been waiting for. Like, someone do this. So please don't stop thinking. Don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do it. You will do it, because everybody is waiting for you. So reframe your mindset. That dream of yours is going to be possible. So just start. Just sign up for that lesson. Go for that class, and that's it. Just start. Starting is what matters the most, because when you start, everything is going to be better. When you start, before you know it, more things keep happening and you keep growing, and before you know it, you're global and you're doing amazing things, you're changing things, you're making yourself proud, you're making your family proud, you're making your nation proud, and you're taking us to greater heights. This conversation really highlights something important. The future is ready. It's already here. And Nigerian students deserve the opportunity to be part of it. Robotics is no longer just about machines. It's about creativity, it's about innovation, problem solving, and preparing young people for a rapidly changing world. So thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's been an amazing time having this conversation. And to everyone dreaming out there, do you, be you, and don't listen to the odds. Don't listen to what the people have to say. Their opinions don't matter. Your opinion matters. And you've been watching Education Frontline Live. I am Maimuna Isa. Stay educated, stay informed.